I live for the chaos.
So we are speaking with Connor Lewis, one of our new narrators on 8 Spark Stories. He has done Doom Scroll by Dennis Gomez, which I'm actually exporting right now in the background because we've moved some. I don't know if we've announced this on the Writer's Block yet. So we've created an official 8 Spark Stories YouTube page so that you can go and listen there and watch. It's just kind of a looping clip. But we're re-uploading existing stories, and Doom Scroll was one of our more recent stories, and that'll be up hopefully by the end of the day.
Beautiful.
So, yes. Yeah. And everyone is very happy. That was our fastest growing for as far as listeners go. That was our fastest growing episode. So, yeah. Up until we re-uploaded Cathedral. That one's doing pretty good on YouTube. So.
Good. Well, it's just because Doom Scroll was written fantastically. That's why.
Yeah. So Connor Lewis is a narrator, and he's a part of the Hellscape group, which I think is how Clarence found him.
Yeah.
And how I found you.
Yes.
You got any questions? Jump right in.
Actually, we talked about Connor like 2 episodes ago. We were talking about the Angel Fund and how you and I were selling my book and how you were purring for the women.
Yeah. Yes. I a bit shameless on my part, but hey, it worked.
I gotta say, it's kind of weird seeing you talk and hearing your voice, which I'm only placing in Doom Scroll is my only reference. Besides you've done some of the recent episodes of on Hellscape Till Death Do Us Part. Right?
No, I didn't get selected for that. Yeah.
No. Oh, shame.
Well, I mean, I always say like, if my voice isn't right, I'd rather they go with somebody that's the right sound. I don't want to be picked just because. I'd rather they actually find the person that suits their role better. Right. Don't get me wrong, I could do a plethora of voices, plethora of accents, but at the end of the day, if it ain't right, it ain't right. It's not that it doesn't mean anything. Obviously, I'd love to be involved in everything because that's the kind of person I am, but I know that's kind of an unrealistic expectation.
But you are auditioning for Clarence's imposter.
Yes. Just imposter.
Imposter syndrome.
just imposter.
No, that's what I have. Yes,
I think we all do.
I'll be auditioning for that 100%. Are we allowed to audition yet? I haven't seen anything.
I don't think it's up yet.
So when you audition for something with multiple lines, like an audio drama with different characters, are you picking out what you want to audition for? Or I think Nels is the one in charge, right? Is he reaching out to you for something specific?
No, it's kind of you. So when I did audition for Till Death Do Us Part, I sort of just read the whole script for the ones that I auditioned for, doing the different voices, doing all of the accents, doing a couple different characters if they said that they're from somewhere, trying to match that, and then offering an alternative. Just to see what, if anything, stuck, really. Obviously it didn't, which is fine. But no, it kind of depends. Sometimes you get told, oh, I'd love you to audition for this part, and then you go and audition for that part. Other times it's free reign. I love both.
So how long have you been narrating?
Narrating, not long, to be fair. So obviously I wanted to be a voice actor. I still do want to be a voice actor, doing anime, video games, cartoons, all that sort of stuff. I have this dream in the back of my head that one day, so I've got 2 young boys, that they'll be able to sit and watch a cartoon and go, that's Dad. But so who did I meet first? I think I came across Aaron on TikTok, and then not long after that met Tanya, or Celtic Blue, for you, to you, Celtic Blue to you. Please edit that so I get it right, otherwise she will kill me. And she invited me on to CSI Cold Reads, and I was like, yeah, sure, why not? I've not done a live before on TikTok. I've not really explored the narration avenue, so I'll give it a go. Went on and loved it, because it's kind of like I get to create the characters in my head, if that makes sense. Like I don't see it as just reading the words on the page. I see it more as I am that character in the book. If it's a point of view book, then that's me. So that's my character, and then the voice and everything spirals out from that. A lot of people liked it, and then I got invited back for another read, which was slightly spicy, which I wasn't expecting.
So what is this CSI Cold?
So CSI Cold Reads is a program, I think Tanya started it, but I'm not sure, where they will match up narrators and authors to do like readings of their books and their projects. And it's all done on TikTok Live. Tanya has championed like fucking five shows or something crazy.
Something like that. Are we
like
allowed
that.
to swear on this podcast, are we? Fucking beautiful. Oh.
Wait,
Yeah.
the real
Yeah.
Connor.
So Tanya is a mastermind. She
Yeah, 100%.
So she would take a very talented narrator and a very talented author and say, I think these two would match. I think this would be a
Yeah.
thing. And then she'll be like, okay, you're going to be on this episode with Connor, or you're going to be on this episode with Tegan, or whomever that she has in her pocket, because she has like 10 million of us in her
100%.
pocket.
Yep.
Between like the Hellscape and then other TikTok creators and authors, and it's wild. And then she did the same thing. I don't know how much of this you've been a part of, but with her other two shows, she would take a handful of writers and like one narrator, and she would just put us all in conversation. Like, and I've been on a handful of those. I've never done CSI Cold Reads. Nobody's ever invited me. Nobody's ever.
Well, that's about to change, buddy.
Yeah.
I'm going to sort that out right after this.
So unfortunately, when Tanya got sick, like people took over her shows for her, so that got divvied up. Who was it? Tegan took over CSI. Tegan
and oh god, I feel really bad
I know I can see his face in my head, but
because I
can't
know.
remember his name right
I mean,
off the top.
Aaron obviously runs it with Tanya, but then Aaron ended up getting married, like it wasn't planned. Aaron went off and got married. How dare he? So he took some time off as well. I know I helped Tegan out on one of them as a co-host, which was fun. But I can't remember who else filled in, because obviously like the time difference. I don't tend to stay up to watch them, which is a real shame. But
Right.
so yeah, no, I'm not too sure who else helped out, but I enjoyed the one that I helped out on.
And then she had a show called Impromptu Interview, which Kyla took over. Yeah, and I've been on that one 1,000
I'm going
times.
to be on that Thursday.
Spoiler alert!
Ooh.
Me too.
Oh, are you?
Actually, it might be Friday. Sorry.
What is the? Thursday the 28th.
I don't know. I'd have to check I think mine might be the Friday. Mine might be the day after you. Sorry.
Oh, shame.
And then there was another. There was another one that she did with Rick Trione as well, and I've been on that one a couple times.
Which one is
too.
that? I always forget which one that is.
Yeah, I don't remember what it's called right off the top of my head.
She's got too many to count anyway. The woman likes to be busy. Let's just say that.
Yeah, and on top of that, all the promotional stuff that she does,
and all the background stuff
wild.
that you don't see. It's impressive, because even if she's not on her shows, she'll be matching people up in the background. So I don't know if you know David Parker Ross, the author. Obviously, he's so Tanya introduced me to him, and he was like, "Your voice sounds close to the previous audiobook narrator I had. I might need to have a conversation with you." I was like, "Oh, okay." And turns out that for whatever reason, that narrator can't do any more of the audiobooks. And David was like, well, I'm going to have to just scrap the whole thing, because he doesn't like to write a book unless he knows who's going to be narrating it. He loves audiobooks. He loves working with narrators. So he scrapped this whole series And then obviously Tanya introduced us. He heard my voice and went, "It's back on. Fantastic." So
So is this the Hellscape group, or is this just where you found Hellscape?
well, I found Hellscape through Tanya.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's connected. but it's
Everything's
not-
connected, but not. Yeah.
It's a little confusing because so many of us are friends on TikTok. So a lot of like people that we talk about are in Hellscape, but the content is not necessarily Hellscape related.
Yeah.
So David, son of a bitch. David recently did an audiobook giveaway, which you were a part of.
Yes.
And I kind of fell backwards into that, and it was purely coincidence, really. So he offered to pay for an audiobook, and you reached out to me and said that I should submit. And the stipulation was that they couldn't have had any previous audiobooks already,
I
so
missed that.
I wouldn't have made it anyway.
I got too excited.
But-
I was like, Clarence need this. I know a few other people that need this. Go fucking send. And
Yeah.
I mean,
And I
go on. Sorry.
I deeply appreciate that. I do. So he was concerned that like people were going to think it was a scam or something. And by the way, when I say he paid for it, I mean he paid for it with under the. I don't know. The words are not wording today. So you had two choices. You had either Connor or Tegan. That was kind of part of the deal,
Yeah,
because he
that
wanted them to have work.
It's
which-
not so much that, it's that Tegan does so much for him. He trusts Tegan to the ends of the earth, and the fact that he included me in that bracket as somebody that he trusts was a massive honor for me. Lovely, I love it. So it was a stipulation that it was either me or Tegan, because he knows that we'll deliver and he knows that we can do good work. And I don't think that's arrogant to say. I know I do good work.
No. It's more of a trustworthy thing than it is just to keep you guys employed.
Well, that too.
That too. So he was concerned that people would think it was a scam. So I stepped in and I said, listen, I know him. I don't know him greatly, but I know him enough. You know, I was like, I will back him. And I even put up, like, I reposted the video and I put in the comments, I said, I'll risk my reputation on this guy. Like, he's legit. He's going to pay for this audiobook. It's going to happen. And he greatly appreciated that. So the day of the giveaway, the day that he announced the winner, I just happened to be scrolling through TikTok and I saw him on a live. So I just clicked it because I'll drop in on a live randomly, just out of boredom or whatever. I've dropped in on a few of yours. And he immediately sends me an invite, to come up, and I'm like, all right, well, whatever. And then he's like, I'm gonna announce the giveaway, and then he's like, she's not on right now, so I've been waiting for her. So I was like, okay, I'll just be your comedic relief. So I just sat there and bullshitted with him for like an hour. And as that time went on, you came on, Tegan came on, a couple of other random people came on. And by the end of it, the woman that we'd been waiting for that had won, she came on, and then she ended up crying, and it was a whole.
Well, I think I came on just after that because I was at work, and David was messaging me going, "She's not on. She's always on. This is just typical. What am I going to do?" I was like, "I don't know. Just reach out, and if it's a bit suspicious, it's a bit suspicious." I don't think he did that in the end, but I think she just happened to come online, and then Tegan messaged me saying that everyone was on. Can I get on? So I was like, "Yeah, I'll go take a break." And then it was lovely to see Angelique in tears. And I think I'm allowed to say that I'll be the one narrating the book. I think I'm allowed to say that.
I think so.
If not, spoilers.
So which book is this?
Oh yes, good question. I should have prepared more for this. I'm awful with remembering book titles.
Her name is Angelique Anderson, right?
It's the ghost.
All right.
The ghost in something. The ghost in you.
It might take me. It might take me forever to get there. So we can talk about something else, and I'll
I'm going to come
We'll
off
get
really
back to it.
bad in this,
Yeah.
aren't I? Oh, he's arrogant. He doesn't
No.
remember the
You
names
have-
of the books he's narrating.
You got a lot of projects on. I mean, we all do.
Mm-hmm.
So something can.
Where are you from, Connor?
Down in the south of England, in case you couldn't tell.
I don't know if you had listened to the last Writer's Block episode, but we were talking about the accent.
What, this one?
Um,
My lovely
yeah.
droll of a voice.
Well, I watch John Oliver, and he was on Hot Wings, and in one of the questions was about his accent and whether or not like people take him more seriously. If he finds that people take him more seriously because of it, and he said that absolutely was the case.
Was it Ghosts in the
Yes,
House?
that one.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Something about the accent makes you sound more distinguished.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, I grew up with this, so this is just my voice. I've said to Tanya that. So when I went on the excuse me, when I went on the second CSI cold reads to do the slightly spicier stuff that's still TikTok safe. I kind of said to myself, well, if I'm going to do narration, I don't want to do erotic stuff. That's just that's not a bit of me. And then stumbled onto the cold reads and was like, oh, it is spicy. Fuck. Well, I'm here now. Oh well, and just went for it. And a lot of people went a little bit crazy for it. Yeah. So, after that, I was like, well, maybe I do have a voice for it. And then auditioned on ACX for a book called Bloodlust, Crimson Temptations. To anyone listening, go look at it. It's pretty good. And narrated by myself. Written by the wonderful Olive Spencer, who's got some other smutty stuff out there, including the first Bloodlust. So this is a sequel. Yeah, I booked that, obviously, and then had so much fun recording it. And I was like, okay, maybe I can do this kind of stuff as well. So, yeah.
So what would you say is your favorite genre for audiobooks?
That is a good question. I don't know if it's so much a genre, it's more just a book that I can connect with. So I'm currently doing a modern day sci-fi no, wrong. A modern day fantasy kind of thing with dragons, guns, cars, all sorts of stuff. Which is so much fucking fun.
That's like urban fantasy,
I guess.
Is that
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a closely guarded secret of mine. I never really read. Like, it's not that I dislike books. It's just books don't tend to grab me. So if I'm sitting there and I've got an hour, I'd rather jump on some video games or try and connect with people rather than sit and read a book, unless it's a really good book. Which is where, like I said earlier, trying to characterify the books really helps me get into it, because it makes it more fun. It makes it interesting. Not that they're not interesting, but you get what I mean. So yeah, just something that I can actually get stuck into. That's what I look for. Like, if I read something and I'm like, I'm not going to audition for it.
Do you find yourself when you're playing video games? Do you find yourself like listening to the voice acting?
Oh yeah,
and sort of studying. Do you have like a favorite game or typical games that you play?
I'm heavily stuck on Helldivers at the minute.
Okay, haven't heard of it.
Okay,
it's pretty popular right now.
It's pretty good fun. It's not a relaxing game. From the second you log on, you spawn in a ship, you sort out your inventory, you sort out the mission, you go to the hell pods and you dive down to the planet, and as soon as you hit the surface, that's it. Whether you're facing bugs or you're facing automatons, it's just non-stop until you extract. But I mean, I sit there and I do. I listen to all the voice acting and stuff. In fact, I had a moment whenever it was that I last played. Obviously, like on loading screens, you get tips and tricks and stuff across the bottom that load up. I just went into my narrator, my sort of like typical narrating voice, your stereotypical voiceover for that, and just started reading it off. And one of the guys I was playing with, like, have they added a voiceover to the loading screens? I was like, yes, success.
Nice.
It was a proud moment for me. I was like, I can do video games. Get me an agent.
So I just checked my calendar. We are not on the same episode. I'm going to be on a day after you. Unfortunately, I am on Friday. That's okay. I'll try to jump on yours and cause
Sweet,
hell.
Fantastic! Can't wait to see you in
That's
the
what I do.
comments. Yeah, I think it's just me.
Yeah.
Because Olive Spencer, the Bloodlust author, she was meant to be on it, but I don't think she's got the TikTok following just yet. So, hey, if you're listening to this before Thursday the 28th and you're on TikTok, go find Olive Spencer and give her a follow so we can try and get her on the live.
I don't even know if I follow her, so I'll have to
You need
check.
to sort that out, Clarence, don't you?
I know. Oh, the other thing that I was going to tell you was I got some voice work now.
Have you?
Yeah, it's such a gag. It's nothing serious, but this company called Chatterbox, Chatterbox Productions, they've taken one of my short stories, and part of the deal is that, you know, they're gonna they wanted me to do one of the voices. They offer that to all their authors, like, if you want to do that. And I was like, I'm not great at reading aloud. I'm not great at, but I will do the voice of a zombie if you let me. And they're like, absolutely, you're in.
Can we get a sneak preview of that now? We need to hear it.
We definitely need to hear it. It would go something like,
nice.
Or, I am a zombie.
hello, I'm a zombie.
Hi, I am zombie.
Be
I like
more.
brains.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite narrator or voice actor that you maybe look up to as inspiration?
I mean, Travis Willingham's pretty amazing in my books. I think he's Thor in a lot of the Marvel animated stuff. He's done so much. He was in Dragon Ball Z for a bit as well. It turns out he's in a lot more than I thought he was in. But I've mainly found him through Critical Role, Dungeons and Dragons stuff, because I am a massive fucking nerd. I mean, that's where the voiceover stuff actually started from, to be fair. When everybody went into lockdown, me and my mate were like, I need something to do. And then, I don't know if you know the YouTube channel Viva La Dirt League. They do lots of different skits about video games and stuff. They started a D&D channel, and we were like, this is actually pretty good. Have you ever thought about playing D&D? He's like, a little bit, but meh. So, we could. So we did. And then he was like, okay, I'll only do it, but you've got to be the dungeon master. I was like, fuck. All right. Sure thing. Trying to learn the rules, trying to learn this and that and control the chaos was hell, but getting to show off accents and voices was good fun. I was like, this is fun. And then found Critical Role, and the way that they introduce every show is we're a bunch of nerdy ass voice actors who play Dungeons and Dragons. I was like, voice acting? That's a thing. And then that's where I was like, that's what I want to do.
So that's a good segue, because I think what we do on the writer's block and the story half is kind of Dungeons and Dragons-y, because I'll explain to you the rules and to anyone listening that might not have heard us before for whatever reason. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to take turns telling a story, and it could be any genre. You can swear. Literally anything can happen, but we're just trying to keep it cohesive.
Gotcha.
For 20, 25 minutes. And so, yeah, it's similar to Dungeons and Dragons in that way. And especially, I think that's how Critical Role kind of works, right? You're just listening to this game that you guys are making up, this story. Adventure.
Yeah. Let's go with adventure, because it's real, damn it.
But the fact that you have real voice actors,
yeah,
including you, doing stuff like that, yeah. So So that's what we're going to do. We're going to start with you since you're our guest.
Fantastic.
And what we like to do with guests is I'm going to send you the link, or you just type it in. It's a random word generator site. And you're going to pick out 5 random words, whatever it gives you.
Random word
And
generator.
then you can write stuff down. Yeah, you can write stuff down to take notes and
Speaking
stuff.
of which, where's my notebook? I usually have it right here.
I don't have. Ow.
So write your words down, and if you want, you don't have to, but it's a little extra game we like to play where we try to sneak our words into our part of the stories.
Ooh.
And then afterwards, we're going to have a bonus convo and try to guess each other's words.
Okay.
Yeah.
And forewarned, Clarence is a master at this.
I lost the last time, though.
It sounds like I need to find a notepad and pen. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to find a pen, too.
Is there anything else I'm missing?
Not that
Besides
I
the pens?
can think of.
We're all missing
We're
pens.
all missing pens. I'm going to go quickly find one. I will be 2 seconds. Yep.
There we go. All right.
Ugh.
You find the one pen in your household?
Luckily, I had this one in my bag, ready for work. But a notepad, which I don't want to show. Oh, it's not. In fact, yeah, it doesn't matter because it's not on camera, is it? I was going to give my old company some free publicity, which I don't want to do.
Not without pay. Exactly.
I mean, go ahead if you want.
No, absolutely not. They fired me.
I wouldn't either.
Okay, number of words 5, word type all. Yep. Generate random words.
And on your turn, you can go as long as you want, or you can just pass it off if you're not feeling it.
Fair enough. Okay.
Just try to be sneaky and slide them in as you go. It's tricky.
All right. And so let's tell a story whenever you're ready.
Yes. Okay. Do I go super stereotypical and start this off in a bar?
If you do, it's got to be Lanky's Pub.
It's got to be what pub?
Lanky's Pub. It's one of our reoccurring.
Fair enough. 3 individuals find themselves around a table in Lanky's bar. They're sinking a few drinks and getting to know each other better as an idea begins to form. Luckily, one of them has a pen and some paper, and they begin jotting their ideas down. For example, why don't we start a podcast? We can call it 8 Sparks. I'm sure that'll impress a few people. I'm going to pass it off there.
Okay.
A podcast. What kind of a loser does a podcast? One of them says, and yucks very loudly, slamming his beer onto the table. They are 3 sheets to the wind. I mean, they've been sloshing back mixed drinks all night. They've been getting real shitty. All right, I suppose we could start a podcast. Why not? Because every time we have drunk ideas, they turn out really well. Like that time we stole an airplane. Anyway.
But that's another story.
That's another story for another time. So the 3 men, drunk off their asses, start recording right there in the pub. They have their phones, and they start talking, and they start telling all these wild tales. Well, one of them says, you know what's better than starting a podcast? Getting shit-faced with your mates.
So, our characters, whom we have not named, their names are Connor, Clarence, and Sean.
Strong names.
The bartender yells from the bar. He says, "Hey, it's getting time to close." And the 3 of them look around and see that, sure enough, pretty much everyone else in the bar is gone. There's one busboy. There's one busboy cleaning up another table. He looks very pissed off, but he's thinking about something else. His mind is somewhere else. They all give one last cheers with their glasses, and then they get up and they head out the door. As they're walking out, take it.
As they're walking out, they're not sure if it's their altered mindsets due to the alcohol or if this is really happening. But how wild can we get? Just go with the flow? Is that what we do?
Oh, over the
Over
top.
the top, fantastic. An ominous green glow begins to form just in front of them as a portal starts to open up and somebody steps through. The figure is cloaked and mysterious and beckons them forth, inviting them to step through to a land of adventure and promise, much like the stories they have already been discussing surrounding the podcast. Over to you.
Come with me. The cloaked figure lures them. Come with me. I have worlds to show you. Worlds beyond the belief. All right. Okay. Take it easy there, Sugar Tits. So the three guys wander into the portal, which, by the way, sucks them in viciously. It was way more than they bargained for. And as they're thrown into the next world or the next dimension, Sean kind of lands sideways, turns a couple of times, and then throws up. Oh, Jesus, what was that? And as they're staring down into this puddle of chicken tenders and sopping fries and disposed beer, the cloaked figure says, all right, enough. Come. And as they're walking, they see a shadow traveling and ellipsing them as it passes over, and they're like, what the fuck is that? And they look up just in time to see the massive wingspan of a dragon.
Sean says, holy shit. He falls backwards onto a rock. But upon closer inspection, we see that this is not a dragon. It is a pterodactyl. And that's when they hear the roar. Yeah, we've never done dinosaurs, so fuck it, why not? Sean says, wondering if perhaps all of this stuff isn't just being conjured out of thin air because of their wild podcast discussions. No, he thinks. That's just way too meta. So he gets up from the rock, brushes his pants off, and they hear that roar again, and then the ground starts to vibrate. This pterodactyl has flown away, and they can see that the trees are moving. Clarence turns to Sean, and he's like, why did we decide to come through that portal? And Connor says,
Well, I just followed you two fucking idiots. The voice behind them goes, good. Now enjoy your fates. Whoosh. And the portal shuts behind them as they're stranded in this prehistoric, Jurassic landscape in front of them. As the three turn their heads to focus on the trembling trees, they start to hear the ominous footsteps and the low growls of what they can only assume is a massive creature. I'm just trying to think, have I got a T-Rex in my range? Probably not. Although, quick sidebar, have you heard the what scientists think T-Rex actually sounded like, rather than the Jurassic Park?
No.
We'll come on to that at the end. And as the three, back to the story, as the three are staring, they fail to notice that behind them, a Dilophosaur has appeared. As the frills start going, Clarence is the first to turn around and goes, oh fuck, pushes Sean in the way and bolts. And Connor, not sure what to do, stands there for a moment before thinking, well, fuck it, and runs after Clarence. I don't have to be quick, I just have to be quicker than you, he thinks. They begin running off, Sean not far behind, Leaving the massive footsteps and the ominous growling far in the distance, they arrive at a clearing, and what they see, they weren't expecting.
Turning around, looking left, looking right, Sean and Clarence are like, where the fuck is Connor? Where did he go? And just as they say that, they see Connor riding a fucking dinosaur. What the fuck are you doing? Sean screams as Connor is swinging his hat over his head as the dinosaur is bucking like a bronco. Jesus Christ. This guy's fucking nuts.
That's so something I would do.
As Sean and Clarence are just staring at them, bewildered, Connor's like, look at me, guys. You fucking idiots could get on one of these too. And just as we approach another sitting dinosaur, we hear the rumbles and the screeching of a much bigger one coming. And as this one that Connor is riding, whatever name I can't pronounce that he just said, it hears the coming dinosaur and skedaddles, kicking him off. And he lands on his head. And he's sort of stretching his neck and rubbing the soreness out of his skull. It was fucking worth it.
It's just then that the cloaked figure appears again through yet another portal. He says, all right, you guys have probably had enough of this shit. You've probably had enough of this shit.
There it is.
If you'd like to move on, there are other worlds. And he kind of just vaguely waves his hand out. And the three of them look at each other and say, just nod. They don't even say anything. And they both step through the first portal presented, but immediately regret it because they fall into water. They are now in some sort of ocean. And they realize quickly that they did not take enough time to breathe. So they're fighting for air, swimming in random directions, looking for something, anything to help them. When Connor notices something glowing, or there's like something glowing coming out from underneath a shell that's just laying on the ocean floor.
Connor swims there for a moment, contemplating, thinking, I really want to touch it. Oh, I want to touch it. But that can't be good. He tries to get the attention of Clarence and Sean, but is unable to. He does notice that as he goes to open his mouth, a few bubbles fall out and they go down towards his feet. Logic dictates that they are upside down, and to get up to the air, they would have to swim down. Not before he touches the shell with the ominous glow. As he swims down to pick it up off the sea floor, beneath it, what could it be? No, I'm stumped on what it could be. So I'm going to give that one to you, Clarence.
Connor takes the shell, rubs it under his thumb for a second, and realizes that it isn't just light that it's glowing, but some sort of magical power. And he has the compulsion to breathe into it for a second. And every instinct in his body says, no, don't do it, you'll drown. But he pushes it into his mouth and pulls a little draw, just a little bit. And it gives him the power to breathe underwater. Yeah. Oh, holy shit. Sort of
level up.
Gills sort of protrude from his neck. And he's like, oh, guys, as bubbles come out of his mouth, oh, guys, you got to try this. And he passes it first to Sean, then to Clarence. And they both hit it. They hit it like a joint.
There it is.
And the same effect. Their gills kind of push out and they can breathe underwater. And they're like, dude, is it just me or is this fucking awesome? But on the other hand, we should really stop following this creepy guy because eventually he's going to lure us into a van and try to give us candy.
So they're swimming majestically through the water with their gills now, just enjoying this ocean. And they're getting closer and closer to the top. They can tell now because there's sunlight coming through the surface of the water up above. So they follow the sunlight and they reach the top and they jump out of the water majestically like dolphins. But when they're up in the air, all three of them gulp in whatever way with their gills. And they look down and they see there's this massive shadow in the water. That can't be good, Sean says. And then when they dive back into the water, they quickly realize that it's a megalodon. Take it.
Damn, I was hoping you were going to leave me with what it was because I was going to go with the magical Leopleurodon.
A megalodon.
It's as they break the surface of the water and they come face to face with this megalodon, realizing how quickly it's coming up on them and how terrifyingly large this thing is. The three of them decide it's best to split up because it can't go after all of them. And as if puffing on the magical green shell has somehow connected their minds, they decide, we can take this thing, surely. Divide and conquer is the tactic of the day. Connor dives down below its belly whilst Clarence and Sean go either side. The megalodon is confused and doesn't quite know who to follow as it rears down to try and chase Connor. Clarence and Sean go for the eyes on either side. Just before the megalodon can... What's that weird eye thing they do? Before the megalodon can roll its eyes back into its head to attack, they manage to punch it in the eye, distracting it, wounding it, and hopefully blinding it. The three of them reconvene and swim off a little ways. The megalodon seems a little bit put out of place and turns around to swim away. They almost feel sorry for it, because it looks like its pride's been wounded, but does this mean that they're now the kings of the sea?
How do you follow that up?
Atlantis. It's the only way to go.
We've got to go to Atlantis. As they're beach bound, they're staring off at each other like, all right, this has been a great adventure, but how the fuck do we get home? They're
beach bound now?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're beach bound. They're looking at each other. They're looking at the sand. By the way, a horrendously littered beach. It's not clean and beautiful like the ones on TV. This is shit. There's plastic bottles and condoms and dirty diapers, and it looks kind of like Lewiston. And as they're walking on this beach, stepping over filthy novels and all kinds of other gross shit, they come across a tree, but it looks not like a tree. It looks like a tree that has been struck by lightning because it's all burnt on the inside, but it's big. It's like massively big. And in the center of it, there's a cavern, we'll say, like a crevice that is big enough for somebody to walk through, maybe a doorway or an arch or something. And they all look at each other and they're like, well, shit, we've come this far. We might as well give it a go. And as they're going down, they're like, I hear something. Do you hear that? It sounds like, I don't know, maybe country music? Cracking pool balls? Or something? Laughter? I don't know. And as they go in, pushing and shoving each other merrily, they find themselves back at the bar.
Nice.
But it's not the bar they remember. Instead of Lanky's, a neon lit sign on the inside says Lonkies. We could stay here, guys, have a drink, or we could keep pushing on. Depends on whether or not you want to stay in a parallel universe. Maybe the sign was replaced. Maybe they changed their name while we were gone. There's no telling how long we've been gone. Oh, you've been gone for quite some time. They both turn around, surprised, like over dramatically surprised, like a sitcom. And standing there in the doorway is the cloaked figure. I've got one more portal for you. They all look at each other. They decide to have a drink first, and they invite the cloaked figure over, and he has a drink as well. Turns out he's a pretty funny guy.
He's got stories.
Then they all, yes. He thinks the podcast is a cool idea. He's very encouraging. So they go back to the door, and they give each other one last glance, and then they step through this portal. Only to find that, take it.
Only to find themselves stepping back into Lankies. Was it Lankies? Yeah.
Yep.
Back into Lankies.
Yep.
The moment they left with renewed vigor that this
And renewed
and
beers.
renewed beers, that this podcast is definitely going to be one hell of a fucking wild ride.
And lo and behold, Sean pulls out his phone in his pocket. Turns out he's been recording since their first conversation. They've got stuff to work with. and now you know. And that is how this story was uncovered.
That's how the three of us are here.
All right.
That's a good enough place to wrap it up.
So what'd you think of that, Connor?
Oh, I loved it. Yeah, no, I love the chaos that improv brings, and I love a no bars, no. What's the expression? No bars hook.
No holds barred.
Yeah, that
No.
sounds right. We'll go with that one. Kind of
Yeah.
improv where say whatever the fuck you want, it doesn't matter, because that makes for the best stories.
How'd you do with your words?
I got them all out there.
Nice.
Interesting. I didn't.
I got 3 out of 5.
I got none of
Did you
mine.
not?
And they're so easy that I could have used. It's just like when I thought to use them, we were already in another world, and I was like, oh crap. So I'll just say what mine were: kidnap, monstrous. I could have used right away. Publicity, print. I was gonna tuck that into like they fall into a footprint, but by the time I had realized that I could do that, yeah. And then tail.
Oh,
So I was gonna do that at first, like you were gonna get knocked, slide down the dinosaur's tail or something like that. And then I was going to do it with a megalodon, but you defeated him and he swam away. I was going to have him like slap somebody in the face with his
Damn,
tail.
that would have been much better.
that would be pretty funny.
But I might as well, while I'm mentioning my words, yes. So basically for you, Connor, I only had portal.
Nope.
Oh, I think I mixed up the word. Did you say cloak?
I did say cloaked, but that wasn't one of my words.
Okay. And like pub, bar, or beer, but I feel like that was just
Nope.
yeah. And then Clarence, for you, I had compulsion,
Nope.
cavern,
Nope.
merrily,
Nope.
and I have ellipsy here, but I think you said the wrong word. Okay, so none of my perfect.
Right, no, thanks for playing.
I'll show myself out the door, out the podcast.
All right. Go ahead, Connor.
Am I guessing or am I telling?
You're guessing.
Airplane.
Mm-mm.
Viciously. That's all I got. Then I got too wrapped up in the story.
All right. I've only got 2 guesses for you, and I got a feeling they're both wrong, but we'll try. Ominous and divide.
No.
No. Oh, shit. We all lost.
We're really good.
All right. Go ahead and tell us your word.
Example. Form. So I think I said, but the idea starts to form of a podcast. Pen.
Pretty good.
I hid body. I was quite sneaky with that one. I said somebody.
Oh,
and impress, because the idea of the podcast was bound to impress.
Bound to impress. That's pretty slick. I had zero, which I did not use. Novel, which I did.
Yeah, you said filthy novel. I
Yeah.
almost
Oh,
mentioned
you
something
did.
about
That was
filthy novels on the beach. I was
Yeah.
going to say it should have been a Wolfgang Domino novel.
well
Yeah.
played.
Mix, which I threw in when they were getting sloshed. They were getting sloshed on mixed drinks.
Yep, that did stand out a little bit because normally it's just beers.
Yeah. Clerk, which I did not use, which in retrospect I could have right in the pub. I mean, that would have been pretty easy. And then tender. So I threw that in the throw up scene. He throws up chicken
did.
tenders.
Very well played.
The thing is, I didn't bat an eye at that because Connor had already established that this was going to be one of those wild stories.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, we're just going to throw chicken tenders, whatever we got at it, which is why I did dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Gotta love the diamond.
Nice. Well done, everybody.
So technically, I think Connor won because he used all of his words.
Yeah.
I'm not
so.
competitive, so that doesn't mean much to me. It means everything.
All of it. Everything.
All right. So that's the story. Now we usually use this bonus space to just extend the conversation, talk about whatever you want to talk about, and do any shout outs for yourself or anyone else that you want to do. So, but before I forget, I meant to mention in the starting convo that you are going to be doing a voice for the intro on my next album.
Yes, I am.
So it's going to be like a skit. I don't want to give away the skit yet, but basically you're going to be auditioning to be me as Critic the Rapper. Alongside some other narrators. So it's going to be pretty funny.
Speaking of imposter syndrome earlier, I have no business being in this skit whatsoever.
Oh yeah, Clarence is going to be in it as
Yeah,
well.
buddy.
Yeah.
It's going to be good fun. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to that. It's different, but I'm here for it.
Do you rap?
In the car.
In the shower.
It could be funny to have you on.
Well, hold on, I'm not going to let that one go under the radar, Clarence. What was that? Was that an attempt at the way I say shower?
I did. I tried to do a British accent. Was it terrible?
Wasn't terrible, and it's a lot better than when people go, "Oh, a bottle of water."
No, I wouldn't do that.
Fucking, there's so many other nuances. Like, don't get me wrong. For me, I have a very southern accent, but where it comes out most is so obviously I'm going to do it RP and then how I do it. But you have swimming pool, you pull a door, and that guy's name is Paul.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm just speaking, it's just pull, swimming pool. Pull the door. Oh yeah, pull. It's very confusing.
Yep.
But yeah, bottle of water.
We have we have pretty thick Yankee accents up here.
I don't think it's as strong as the main accent can be.
No, not us two, but definitely some people in our circles got some pretty thick, hardcore Maine accents.
I'm here for it. I mean, that's the stereotype that each country gets labelled with, though, isn't it? It's the strongest or the most well known.
Yeah.
Like whenever you go to audition for something for voiceover and it's they're after a British accent, it just says British accent, and you're like, which one?
Yeah, that's always
male and female.
Yeah,
British. Yeah, because you sound. It's easier to understand you than our artist Keith Talbot. He's been on a couple of episodes, and part of it could just be the mic that he was using, but he's got a very thick accent because he's from the UK, right?
Yeah,
I just don't remember what part.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to say like it depends on where you are too, because they sound very different. Like there's what do they call it? The Cockney accent. That's like really fucking what's the word? Posh.
No,
really,
Cockney's not posh. Cockney's.
No, not posh.
I want to out myself as not being able to do a Cockney accent, but like Jason Statham, if you've seen any of his films, that's kind of Cockney.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, like yours is.
Speaking of megalodons,
Yeah, Meg 2.
Yeah, and like,
Shit film.
we're notorious for dropping our R's up here, so we say park the car.
Yep.
Yeah, we park the car.
or dropping the G,
Yep,
parking the car.
park in the car.
Running.
Park in the car. Yep.
I love it. And these are all the things. I think there's a website that I can't ever remember the name of because it's invaluable. But basically, it talks you through all the like that dropping the R's from words and all the nuances and little habits that people have from places to help the accent sound more natural.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
good. That's
I
really
can
good.
never remember what it's called, but I know the people to talk to.
Yeah.
But every time I'm like, oh, I should do that, I then forget.
Yeah, if you ever need any help on some New England, just let me know.
I will do.
I'll talk you right through
It
it.
doesn't seem to pop up that much on auditions as an ask. I'm not sure why.
No, and also there are different New England too. Like Maine is very different from New York, which is very different from Boston.
Yep, Boston.
But-
yeah.
Yeah.
Good old Ted. That's the only reason that I really know the Boston accent. Quacksucker.
Yeah,
I just finished that. The show.
I'm still making my way through it, but it's funny.
It's pretty fun.
I'll have to check it out.
So let's segue into that. Give us a TED voice, and then give us like your top 5 voices,
Ted voice.
including maybe Master Chief. Yeah, just give us.
I'll give you some voices. All right. Well, I can't do a Ted because that's very much Peter Griffin. But in Family Guy, I do have Herbert. Say there, how's it going? Get your fat ass back here. Say, Muscles. Thanks for having me on. Here, Jesse, smell my finger. Or you got Cartman. How would you like to suck my balls, Mr. Garrison? I'm sorry. I said, how would you like to suck my balls, Mr. Garrison? You got Stitch from Lilo and Stitch. Aloha there, how's it going? My name is Stitch. Which my boys love. I have 2 personalities. I have Daddy and I have Stitch. And depending, whenever I'm brushing their teeth, it's Stitch. Yes. You need to brush your teeth because otherwise you'll get cavities and your teeth will fall out. And then what you do is you take Stitch and you drop it down a little bit and you add a little bit of rasp and you can end up at Gollum. My precious, filthy hobbitses. So juicy sweet. And then I'll give you the little snippet of Master Chief. What's the? I need a weapon. His best line. But yeah, it needs work.
I've been present for the voice of Herbert
Yes, you
before.
have.
I can't remember what live. I can't remember. Was it you and Carlo?
It might have been.
We're goofing around.
Yeah, it was me and Carlo. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just kicking in the comment section, just dying. I was even feeding you lines at one point.
It's one of my favorite go-to ones because one, I'm fairly confident it's quite strong, and 2, it always gets the best reaction. So if I'm ever like in a game chat, so when I used to play Call of Duty, and obviously you'd end up with the campers who are sniping up on the hills, just, I'm gonna get you. I see you. I smell you. Just watch them freak the fuck out.
That's great.
I just remember that you are also you have done the Ghost in the Nimbus story. So that's going to be your next story on 8 Sparks Story.
Yes.
And you did a really good job with that one. I wasn't expecting the accents. You did like an Irish
Yep.
accent.
And
And-
kind of a Texan Southern drawl, kind of,
Yeah.
as well
Yeah.
as me talking about it. I'm glad you liked it.
Did JP do? Because you listened to the first one for reference, right? I don't remember if
Oh,
JP
I've
did
lost
those
you.
accents. Did you just decide to? Oop.
I think I'm back. What was the question? Sorry.
I said so. Jean-Paul Wood, who did the Red Giant story, I can't remember now if he did those accents. Did you build on his accents, or did you just inject? your
No,
own?
I injected my own flair into it. I mean, I know because I forget names. I'm really sorry, but the male character, he
Caleb,
yeah,
I think.
he was from down that way originally, I believe.
Oh yeah,
Which is why I settled on that one. And I figured, well, if this is, I'm not going to do the, forgive me, the typical American thing of thinking that America is the world. And if this is the last bit of humanity, I'm fairly sure there'd be some other nationalities in there. What can I do that's
yeah.
semi convincing? Because one thing that I do struggle with is female voices. I don't. They're difficult for me. So I was like, well, if I take a Northern Irish accent and sort of just try and pitch up my own voice a little bit, we'll see how that sounds. And it sounded all right. So I was like, yep, that'll do. We'll stick with that one. It's kind of how I landed on that. Not gonna lie.
Well, it worked.
I'm glad you liked it.
Can't wait to
I had a lot of fun doing it.
you've listened to it, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Fantastic. I'm sure. I can't remember right off the top of my head.
Clearly, I did a fucking fantastic job. Yeah, memorable.
Yeah.
do you have any other big projects coming up?
Yep. So obviously got the Ghost in This House for Angelique coming up.
Mhm.
I've currently narrating Dragon Den, which is the modern day fantasy one that I was talking about earlier. I've got David Parker Ross's series. I think we've got the series of that coming up. I've got something in the works. I don't know if you know Fiona Devine.
The name sounds familiar.
She's on a lot of. In fact, was she on the last Cold Reads? She's been on a cold read with me because the book that it was the book that we were reading from is the book that she's written with me in mind. I think to narrate the male character, which is a fucking huge honor. Still can't quite get my head around somebody liked my voice that much that they've written a character with me in mind. But I'll take it, and I'm excited to start on that.
I will in the future.
Yeah, I plan on doing it as well.
Guys, thank you. Honestly, it's I when I was growing up, people used to take the piss out of my voice for reasons, but yeah. So I always grew up thinking, well, my voice ain't anything special, and then sort of meeting Tanya and everyone else through Tanya and Hellscape and CSI Cold Reads and the Book Talk community on TikTok. It's proven me otherwise. A lot of people love my voice, and I'm starting to like it too. Not gonna lie.
You have any other questions?
Not questions per se, but just comments. Working with you thus far has been fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Taking the piss has been fantastic.
That's what I'm here for.
I promise not to make fun of your accent too much.
No, crack on. It's all fair game. The only reason I haven't started attacking yours is because I can't do it, but I'll get there.
Yeah, eventually. And looking forward to a lot of projects in the future.
Yes.
I hope we work together many more times.
Oh, 100%. You know, I'm always game for an 8 Sparks podcast story. I thoroughly have. So the Last Man on Mars was like the first audio drama that I've done. And obviously with narration for audiobooks, I love it. It is good fun, but sometimes I feel like you can't go quite as weird as you can with a podcast story, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
so on the Doomscroll story, obviously discovering that voice, the other voice. For those of you that haven't listened to it, I'm not going to spoil it, but the other voice, trying to work that out,
which Dennis loved. He loves that.
And so do I. Like, it was just playing around with pitch, like, oh, I've not done this before, but I like it. Last Man on Mars, like I said, that was written by Spencer Mackenzie Brown. Yes, who I just call him Spence, but we formed a nice little connection. And he's got more stuff planned, more audio dramas. He wants to turn it into like a whole podcast series called Ad Astra Archives. So more to come on that in the future. But yeah, that was a good fun on that one. I do one of the main characters, Aiden, and I got to let loose on like actually going for it, because again, with narration and some stories, you have to, like, you got to remember people are listening to it, and if like you're nice and calm in your narration, you can't suddenly just start screaming out of nowhere with the character. But on that one, I did, because I could, and it was part of the script. And so stuff like that just is good fun. So I'm looking forward to the future for that. Excuse me. And obviously any 8Spark stuff that comes my way as well. I'm looking forward to that.
I have another Hellscape thing that I just submitted to Nels. And by the way, I hope you get the droid position. I'm rooting for you. I really am for Imposter. So I wrote this radio drama about a clown, basically, and I wrote it because I wanted. Well, I wrote the story before the radio drama, but when I was rewriting the script, I wanted him to be completely unhinged, because I wanted whoever gets the part to go fucking wild with it.
I'm good at
and
unhinged.
It looks like Maggie's going to try for it, and I hope you do too.
See, yeah, but the fact Maggie's going for it, it doesn't put me off. But she's good. She's very, very good. I can do unhinged. I think there was a TikTok like voiceover challenge where one of them was an unhinged character, and I fucking loved it. I went off. So I know I can do it, but I just don't know if it's going to be able to compete with Maggie, because I've heard what she can do, and she's a very, very talented person. I'll give it a damn good fucking go, don't get me wrong. And then when I do win, I can rub it in her face.
Oh, now we're talking.
But if she wins, then she can fully rub it in my face. That's fine.
I was trying to go for like Pennywise, but with like these hellacious mood swings.
Oh yeah,
yeah. That's kind of what I was going
Pennywise, the dancing clown.
Yeah,
hiya, like Georgie.
Yeah.
All right. I think we're gonna have to wrap this up.
Oh, shame.
But thank you
for having me
and telling us a particular story with us. Do you want to shout out your links where we can find you?
The main place that I'm very active is on TikTok, and it's Connor Lewis VO. Easy search on there. I do have an Instagram of the same handle, but I'm less active on that. My website is something I don't use too often, but I need to go back there and update it, to be fair. Hold on. Let me just double check it so I know it's right. It's...
This might have already come up, but do you have... Cool. Sorry, if I were to look up your name on Audible, would you appear, or is it mainly just podcasts?
I know on ACX, if you search me, I turn up. Audible, I haven't checked. I'm not into the habit of Googling myself, I'm not going to lie.
Well, if you did ACX, that is through Audible.
So then
right?
You would like to think I'd turn up on there. In fact, I'm going to do it now. Audible. Audible. Do I have to sign in to be able to search?
I just pulled it up and I did not find it.
Through Audible?
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing with searching narrators on Audible is not as easy as it should be.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, Audible, if you're listening, let's change that. Yeah.
Let's change it. Sometimes
Shit.
you like the narrator, so you want to follow their work, not just the author's work.
Yeah.
So you should be able to do both.
You'd like to think so. But yeah, I know on ACX, if you have a book that you think I'd be good for, then by all means try and reach me on there as well. Or my website is connorlewisvo.card, CARRD.co. And that's I try and update that quite often, but I have forgotten about it. I've been busy. Life, narration, kids,
Life gets in the way of art.
creative. Yeah, it certainly does.
All right. Well, thanks again for coming.
Thank you for having me, and invite me back anytime. This was good fun.
Definitely.
And you guys, chat to you soon.